This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble, and we're here until midnight tonight. And a happy Wednesday. I forget the days of the week, and now it's all one big blur. Did you notice after COVID it was just one big blur? Okay. Anyway, welcome to Blur's Day. And oh boy, how was my weekend? Just my weekend, nothing much. We had a guest here, which what happens when I have a guest here, she's in the other room now, is we put him in the guest room. When we put him in the guest room, then I can't use it to watch my TV shows in, and I have to go sit in the living room and watch it. And I don't like watching it in the living room because my TV set is up on a wall like this. So all the problems I have, those are the major problems I have. Most people should have such problems. Anyway, I think it's time for me to say hello to somebody that we say hello to every week at this time on Wednesdays. And in spite of our better nature, hold on a second. I just got to do something here. I got to put his name up. There we go. So that when we go to him, see, he has his name there. Okay, wait a minute. Let me get rid of somebody up here. There we go. Hello there at the Palace of Versailles, Phil Meyer.
Well, I'm in the Hall of Mirrors, and I figured since you have such an elegant living room, I'd sit in an elegant room as well.
We gotta admit this is a nice living room.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the place is it's kind of a little shabby because it's old.
Kind of like us.
Yes, I'm kind of shabby too. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. So how you doing there, Phil?
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling a little under the weather today. I don't know if that's COVID or maybe I just got a sniffle. Yeah. But if you got a sniffle, they just take you out and shoot you. Oh, wait a minute, that's China.
That's China. They take you out and shoot you if you have a sniffle. Yeah.
Hey, you got anything you want to talk about first before we talk about other stuff?
Not really. I mean, there's not a hell of a lot, I think, to talk about, is there?
Well,
I mean, Republicans are acting like Republicans, and Democrats are acting like Democrats, and we're all fucked.
Well, the Democrats or the blue cities and blue states are starting to say that they're going to lift the mandates. Already, I went to a restaurant night before last, and this restaurant was asking for your COVID vaccination ID or card every time you went in there. Of course, they never remembered who I was. I guess I don't tip big enough. Yeah. But the 25% is not good enough. You got to tip 100% to have them remember you. So now they're not asking for the COVID card anymore, and the Bay Area. They said, well, they'll lift the mandates, but they will lift them when we're 80% vaccinated. Contra Costa County is 79.9% vaccinated, so they're not going to lift.
Really?
Yet. Well, yet. Yeah, and they say that it's got to be 75 cases a day. And there were 323 in this county. Yeah. So, I gather they're going to do their best to keep the mandates in place. But talking about mandates, the Canadians are getting very upset. Now, I had mentioned that trucker strike a couple of weeks ago, and you said, what, is there 6 truckers? Well, there's 7 or 8 now. And they're blocking the roads, but they're claiming this is for freedom. I'm really surprised the Canadians are looking for freedom, but they're rioting. One Canadian yelled, "Do you need any gasoline?" And he raised his voice. Well, that sparked a riot because they felt that he was being aggressive. And then he said, "Hi, how you doing?" And he said it loud because the guy was across the street. Sparking, the Canadian government says it's a riot. And
well, that's your way of interpreting it.
What? That it's a riot?
Yeah, that's your way of interpreting how the government is responding up there.
Well, all the guy said was, "Hey, how you doing?" But he was yelling across the street, and Canadian, and he was trying to apologize.
Okay, but there, let's be honest. Okay, there are always, people mistaking what people are doing in situations like that. The government is no different. Okay. So maybe maybe he just was saying hi to his friend across the street.
I was kidding.
Things,
it's saying hi is a riot in Canada. But I guess my joke had to be explained.
Well, what you're doing is you're claiming that something exists that didn't exist, and now people are going to believe that exists. Who are you, Joe Rogan?
Only your gullible listeners are going to believe that a riot was caused because a guy said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Phil Rogan Meyer.
Well, hey, they're trying to silence Rogan, and I guess it's not working.
No, they're not trying to silence
Rogan. They
Rogan.
want him kicked off of Spotify.
They want him to act responsibly, and to also to not use the N-word.
Well, he apologized, and I guess
and then he had to apologize again, and then how do we know he's not going to do it again? And Spotify stands behind him. But screw Spotify.
Have you ever seen people get misquoted because they chop up the audio of what they said?
You know what bothers me? Let me tell you what bothers me, Phil. Right. And it bothers me about you in this situation and everybody where Rogan is concerned. When I was in radio, on radio stations, which were looked over by the FCC and owned by major corporations, if I did something like that, they just fire me. And you wouldn't be around saying, "Oh, stand up for Alex's freedom of speech." No. But Joe Rogan does it on something like the internet that isn't policed by anybody, and somehow he doesn't have to answer for what he does.
Well, Trump wanted, I think it was called Section 260, or where he wanted the internet to be responsible for what they say and what goes out over their airwaves, just like a radio station or a newspaper or anything else. And they didn't want to do that. So the internet has free reign to do
yes, they do. But we also have free reign as a public to complain, and also to, for instance, if we subscribe to Spotify, to withdraw our subscription, and if we have our music on Spotify, to refuse to have our music on Spotify any longer. And it went beyond just that whole thing about COVID, which I think is a public health issue. Okay, it has to do with him also using the N-word and being just not being a responsible broadcaster, shall we say?
Let me ask you this.
What?
Some people, I don't listen to Spotify. I don't subscribe to Spotify, and I didn't listen to Joe Rogan. This morning, I happened to have heard a YouTube that was talking about this Joe Rogan situation. So I'm not a fan, although when I saw his excerpts on YouTube, I didn't think he was so bad. Now,
but don't you think? Let me say something first, Phil. Don't you think I'd be the first one to defend Joe Rogan, because I've been in this kind of position occasionally in broadcasting, but I don't defend him, because the thing he's doing is the one thing that I would have never done even in my worst days of being on radio. I would have never put the public in danger.
Okay, but if he was putting the public in danger, it's okay for blue cities and blue states to.
No. Forget that. Don't even go there because you're trying to.
But they're doing the same thing.
No, what you're doing is you're saying because this exists, he shouldn't be able to do that. No, we're talking about Joe Rogan and what he did.
Okay.
And what he did was endanger the public welfare.
Okay, before we get to that, let me talk about this N-word stuff. From what I was led to believe from what I watched. Now, of course, I didn't hear it firsthand, but it's worth discussing.
Well, if you didn't hear it firsthand, how can you talk about it with any authority?
I'm discussing. I'm not defending. So what they said on this N-word stuff was that he was. These were snippets of programs that were compiled over a 10-year period. Number two, these snippets were from talks that he was having, saying that the N-word is being used. And it's not an equitable thing, and either people should not use it at all, or if they're going to use it, they shouldn't crucify anyone that uses it that doesn't have the melanin in their skin. So do
you believe that? Do you believe that to be true, Phil?
I don't have proof one way or another.
No. Do you believe that theory?
That you shouldn't use it because if it's okay for you, why isn't it okay for me?
I'll give you an answer, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't think they should use it, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't.
Who shouldn't use it? Who shouldn't use it?
Anyone in the
black people shouldn't use it.
No, I don't think they should.
Wait a minute. Okay, these are the very people that this word has been used against for years as a negative form of reproach. Okay?
Right.
All right. They have disempowered it, and they have every right to disempower it. They have disempowered it by using it like they use it. In other words, no, it's not okay for a white guy to say it because we have no right to disempower the word. They do.
I don't think the word needs to be disempowered.
The word definitely needs to be disempowered.
If people don't use it, if it's the same thing as saying kike or cunt.
As a Jew, have you called a Jew a kike?
I think that would be very demeaning, and I wouldn't do it.
I've done it. Kidding around between two Jews, and because it was us, it didn't matter.
If you're going to use it, then use it. Don't crucify someone else for using it.
No, I'll crucify someone else for using it because it's my word. It's the word that describes me, and so therefore I get to use it if I want to, and I get to disempower the word if I so desire.
So therefore, the Nazi down the street, he should be able to use it too. No,
he shouldn't be allowed to use it because he's using it in hate. Do you think one black person uses that word when describing another black person out of hate?
Well, it has a lot of meanings.
Wait a minute. Out of hate?
Sometimes.
No, I don't think so. They're not doing it out of hate, but the white man is.
It's kind of like the word shalom. It means hello, peace, goodbye, and schwarze.
It has nothing to do with shalom.
No, but you know how shalom has a lot of different meanings. Now, the N-word can be a meaning of endearment. It could be also a negative thing that is like calling a woman a bitch, which they do on a regular basis in their music. Rap music, kill the cops, beat the bitch. Does all black music do that? No.
Okay. Well, then why do you even bring it up?
Because it's rap music.
It's a rare. Rap music. Now let's define what rap. I'm trying to talk to you about rap music. To define rap music.
Hey, I can rap.
Rap music is folk music. Okay, and what it does is it tells stories, and it tells stories about certain people who may be on the fringes of society and speaking in their speak in order to tell their story. Okay? So a lot of times those things about kill the police and so on and so forth is a very real thing that goes on, and they're reporting it in song. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. But
Okay.
I don't think that that people in public should speak, whether it's the N word or the K word or the C word.
Look,
I just think that it's
I
an
am
uneducated people that talk like
I'm a
that.
person who believes that words word is not important. Words, are not. I just have always wondered why we couldn't say fuck and shit and piss and things like that on radio, because after all, they're only words. And in the
But you're
case, wait a minute, in the case of the N word, they're only words until they're used to hurt.
Well,
Okay.
you're a wordsmith. That's what you do for a living, and in many ways, so am I. In sales, I try to pick the words that I could use less words and be more powerful in the descriptions that I'm using, and but to use derogatory terms sort of negates everything that you're saying. Uh, it sort of disqualifies you from what you're saying, and it's almost like rape. Rape is an effort by someone to overpower other people. It's to
I
and
have no
by
idea how
using
you're equating rape with this.
well by using the N word, what many are trying to do is use it as a overpowering technique to get their point across, and I don't see it. I don't think that civilized people should use that kind of language.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Never knew you
but
to be such a sensitive guy.
except in Canada, when they say I'm sorry very loudly and the government gets upset. You know, this is and I guess also there what's that GoFundMe? GoFundMe got $10 million to support these truckers, to give them food and water and gasoline and all the things they need to continue their strike. And GoFundMe said, well, originally they said, we're not going to give it to them because we don't support that. We're going to give it to other charities. And now there was a big uprising, and they're giving it back.
Well, I mean,
donated.
the point is that GoFundMe should have never taken the GoFundMe for that if they
Well,
weren't
that's
going to
true.
turn over the money to the people, and they can't, and as an afterthought, go, well, we don't believe in this cause, so we're turning over the money to something else. They're wrong in doing that.
Well, and you're right. You remember when your second wife passed away, and I tried to start a GoFundMe.
By the way, in case people just heard him say that, it wasn't the second wife I ever had that passed away. It was my second wife who passed away.
Oh yeah,
I don't want you to think that a lot of these women are dying and falling around.
yeah. Well, we don't know.
I mean, I don't know if the first wife is dead or not.
Is around. So anyway, I tried to start a GoFundMe to fund cancer research, and so all I said was cancer research, and I gave him $100. The bet I had with Natalie was $20, but I tried to do a nice thing, and I set this thing up, and I was hoping to raise more money, and I put $100 in it. GoFundMe suspended the thing because I didn't pick a charity. I didn't realize that I had to pick, like the American Cancer Association or something like that.
Yeah.
It was just, cancer research. I had no idea, that wasn't the way to go. They refunded my $100 and they shut down the GoFundMe account. So if they can do that for a kike from San Francisco, they can certainly not collect $10 million for truckers and then all of a sudden decide that.
Well, I think that that's wrong. Okay. In other words, they should have never allowed the money to be collected in the first place if they didn't believe in it. But if after the fact they say we don't believe in it, and what they should say is we don't believe in it, so then all those people who have put in their credit cards and so on and given us money, we're returning it to you.
Well, ultimately, that's what they did. But you know, it was strange. How do you? It's kind of like the cancer research thing that I try to do. How do you fund this group of truckers? I mean, it's a cloud of ether out there, and you
Well,
know, how do you,
the question is, okay, somebody started this, right? I don't know who started it or whatever. But then how do they manage to disseminate the money to the truckers?
exactly?
In other words, what organization is there to disseminate it? Or is this person who asked for the money just going to keep it for himself and buy a yacht?
Well, it might be like Black Lives Matter, where the woman who was the CEO bought 4 houses totaling $4.5 million, and now nobody can find her. And she put her assistants in charge of the 90 million that was collected. And you know, where'd the money go? You know, somebody else also wrote
Well, I think
me
that's what they were saying with you, is you started a thing for,
right.
whatever, and you didn't have an organization. If you
Right.
had said, I'm starting GoFundMe and this is going to be sent to the American Cancer Society,
Right.
then probably they would let
I
you do
didn't
it.
know. I never started a GoFundMe before. I've donated to GoFundMes, but you know, I didn't realize that you had to do that. I just automatically assumed that they'd give it to cancer research.
You know, GoFundMe takes about what, 20% or something?
Only if you let them. They actually, I've donated to a number of things, including
No. If you add a couple of dollars more, then they'll let your entire amount of money go. In other words, you got to pay for their share, their part.
well,
I would like to.
thought-
I would like to see an accounting by GoFundMe of how much money they make for themselves.
Well, I thought that when you donated to GoFundMe, that they said, "Do you want to pay extra to have?" Oh, yeah, so they'll just take it out of the donation. So if you don't want to pay extra to offset your donation,
You pay an extra $2,
yeah,
$3,
an extra, let's say 20% or 10% or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm not sure what the amount is, but so if you elect not to do that, then they probably, if you donated $100, they probably give $90 to the cause, and they take 10.
Yeah. Exactly. So, what the hell,
Well, these things. Now, I'm wondering, for instance, Black Lives Matter raised $90 million. $90 million. Now, I understand that a lot of the money they raised went to the DNC. At least that's what I was
That's
told.
what you were told. Who were you told by?
Oh,
Fox.
might have been Marjorie. I don't know.
That was Fox. I'm sure it was Fox.
Yeah, probably. I was going to ask you this also. The truckers that are in Canada, the ones that are rebelling against all the mandates, are they Republicans?
No.
Of course not. So maybe all the people that are rebelling against the mass mandates in this country, not all of them are Republicans. You know, there's a lot of protests going on in California, and only 22% of the state is Republican. So,
well, I mean, it's people. I mean, look, people are complaining. They're tired. They're sick and tired of wearing the mask, and they're sick and tired of getting the vaccines and not being able to go about their daily lives in the way they used to. But I'm sorry, that's not the way the world is right now, unfortunately.
well,
And so, if you want to get to a point where we can say we are truly safe, then you got to wait a little bit and you got to keep going with it. But you can't suddenly say, I mean, like the truckers up in Canada are going crazy. I mean, which is interesting to me because it's so unlike Canadians.
that's right.
They
Must be Republican Canadians.
I mean, are they still going, we don't want to wear masks, but we're sorry to say so.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah, well, that would have been the good joke, but you delivered it right. But I'm just looking at what's going on up there, what's going on in France, what's going on in the UK.
what's going on in the UK?
They're having these. They stopped the mask mandates. So they stopped the COVID injection mandates. They're figuring it out first. I guess their people are protesting, and
No, it's not that there are people who are protesting. I think that the United States is the place where they're mainly protesting, and in Canada you've got truck drivers, because I guess they feel their livelihood is being impinged upon by these mask mandates. But the fact that they can't go over the border without wearing a mask or without being vaccinated is not Canada's fault. It's the fault of the United States, who won't let them in.
Well, we can't go to Canada if we're not vaccinated. Matter of fact, we can't go to Canada.
Look, I just say, I'll tell you. Let me bring a few people in here, because one of them knows a little bit about this.
My daughter doesn't want to come home from Toronto because she says that if she comes back to the States from Toronto, she can't get back to Toronto. So,
Yeah.
vaccinated.
Yeah. Okay, here are two people who are experts on COVID. Charlie is kind of an amateur expert, and while Brian Neary doesn't want to say he is an expert, he does deal with it, okay, as part of his business. Am I right, Brian? Is that the best way of putting it?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about stopping the mask mandates? We're going to stop them here in New York, as of.
A lot more people are going to die.
Huh?
A lot more people are going to die.
Yep.
The good thing about California is Santa Clara County is going to keep the mandates for a little bit longer while we test on all the other counties.
Just wait and see what they do.
Exactly.
What happens to them?
Santa Clara County's always been pretty strict, so I don't mind it. My work, we kept the masks on even when we were allowed to take them off, like a Safeway and stuff like that. We kept them going, and I was sort of happy. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And we're doing a lot more testing at work right now because of all the COVID and Fluvid, our new products. We just want to make sure that we're not introducing anything into our cartridges while we're sending them out. So
What is Fluvid?
that's flu and COVID.
Oh,
Because see the doctor. See, if you go into the doctor with, oh yeah, I am talking light about it, huh? When you go into the hospital with flu-like symptoms, they have to break it down. So before COVID, they had one test that had the flu A and flu B, and RSV, and then they would test for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID came along. They didn't have a test for that yet, but they would test with our cartridge to see if they had the usual seasonal flu. And then when they didn't have that, they knew that they had flu-like symptoms. Then they just assumed that they had COVID until the COVID test came, and then we combined those three plus COVID into Fluvid.
Wow.
Now we have the plus assay that sort of helps with the variant a little
You're
bit.
constantly having to keep on the case, aren't you?
Yeah, but we've always been like that. Zika and all those other ones. We dealt with the government to do the test only right away. So so we've always been involved with it.
Hello to Kevin. How are you? And Alan, Charlie. Hi guys.
How you doing?
Charlie, how do you feel about? Are they going to do away with the mask mandates in your?
I think it's suicidal. 3,233 Americans died today from COVID. Does that sound like we need to get rid of the mask mandates?
Charlie, how many died last year on this date from COVID?
I don't know.
17. I'll tell you, it was 1,700.
Yeah, but I think there's a big difference between who's dying now and who's dying then, right? A lot of people who are unvaccinated. I mean, the numbers that Bill Maher is tossing up, they're saying like 90% of the people who died were unvaccinated. And then what do you say, like another 70% were over 65 or obese or something. He had some numbers tossing up. And if those are true, I mean, I don't know why they hide everything like that from us, because that really goes to the older people have to be careful, just like Alex always says. He's wearing a mask all the time, and if I was in his shoes, I would too. And then the obese, and unhealthy people who are big, those two categories, I think, really have to be on this, and maybe a lot of us don't.
Yes, Charlie.
Well, the thing about a year ago is we were only having, 200,000 COVID cases a day. Whereas these people that are dying now are from 3 weeks ago, we were having 800,000 cases a day.
Why is that?
Why
do we have more?
Was more contagious than
Omicron is more contagious. it's more.
Yeah, but it's not as deadly. Why are more people?
Well, it may not be as deadly, but
if you have a million cases, a lot of people are going to die.
It's not as deadly if you're vaccinated. If you're unvaccinated,
well, let me explain something to Phil. The difference here is that we have more cases because it is more prevalent and contagious, but its lethality is not as great. But because there are more cases, what lethality there is amounts to more deaths. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not so sure how many cases compared to last year.
I mean,
but I can say this.
Wait a minute, you just said something about the number of cases
I
last year.
I said the number of deaths.
Deaths.
Yeah, number of deaths last year compared to the number of deaths this year today on today's date last year.
A better statistic would be what the average for 7 days average of deaths.
Well, that was 2,900.
And what's the percentage of people vaccinated now compared to last year?
Well, the average 7 days for this week was 2,900 a day. Was the average. But
now, what's the average a year ago? Might have been the same thing for all you know, and you pick one particular day where the numbers were low.
Well, every day the numbers were low last year compared to this year.
No, they weren't.
Yeah,
There were
they might have had.
The only time they were low was on the weekends.
Yeah. Because people were staying inside and dying?
No, because they weren't reporting them. Because the places that reported were closed on the weekend.
You know, I saw an interesting thing tonight. 2 years ago, when they first had the lockdowns, there was a guy on Malibu Beach, and he was windsurfing, and he didn't have a mask on. And the Coast Guard went out there, and they arrested him because he wasn't wearing a mask. He was alone on a surfboard, paddleboarding on a surfboard. Now, the truckers that are in their trucks, they're normally alone. They sleep in the truck, they eat in the truck, and they got to wear a mask in the truck? Come on. You know, don't you think this is government overreach?
I don't think anybody said they had to wear a mask in the truck.
Yeah.
No.
To come over the border to the U.S.
When you're crossing the border, and you're maybe lowering your window.
Kevin is saying no.
Huh?
But Kevin is saying no. So what are they protesting about in Canada?
Well, Kevin, were you saying no? Wait a minute.
No, Mike.
Your mic isn't on, Kevin.
You're muted.
You're muted.
They don't have to wear a mask in their trucks.
No, well, then why are they protesting?
You think they're protesting because of that, Phil?
That's one of the reasons. They're protesting mandates. They're protesting.
That's all they're protesting. They're protesting the fact that they are being mandated to do things. That's the only thing they're protesting, and I'll bet you half of them guys are from the U.S. sitting up there on the Canadian border.
Oh yeah, in trucks with Canadian license plates.
Okay. You know, I'll give you that. You know, they probably are up there, and they're probably Canadian truckers, and they're pissing off all the American truckers that are trying to get up there and do their business. If you notice that as well.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them up there, but there's a lot of them that don't agree with what they're doing. You know, I can understand them having a stand, saying their piece, and moving on.
There's also,
but they're disrupting a lot of other people's business and a lot of other people's, you know,
how about
making money and everything else.
Well, how about
they're doing exactly what they don't want to be doing.
Kevin, how
interrupting other people's home,
Kevin,
making their money.
Kevin, how about their health? People I saw were complaining that the smoke, the soot and everything from the diesel that they're running in downtown.
Well, I'll tell you, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be stuck on a bridge in a truck with another however many trucks are stuck on that bridge at 80,000 pounds apiece. I don't know what that thing's rated at, but it don't look
all
good.
I'm saying is that they were saying, there's one woman I saw they were interviewing was saying, I can't breathe because of the diesel smoke.
And they can't shut down because they'll freeze.
Yeah. Was she a trucker or was she just a news reporter?
No, she was a citizen.
A resident.
A resident.
What was she doing on the bridge?
She wasn't on the bridge.
You don't have to be in the bridge.
Where's it? Downtown Toronto or wherever? Where
it's outside of Toronto.
Not Toronto. It's Ottawa.
Ottawa, yeah.
Ottawa. Okay, the downtown Ottawa, and it's causing it's causing congestion in the streets and congestion in the lungs. Yes, Alan.
We went through this last week with Phil throwing out numbers of people that died of COVID on this day last year, and he was way off. And once again,
No, I wasn't.
yes, you were. And once again, you're way off. What number did you just use? 1,700.
1,700 this day last year.
Right. And according to the CDC, on February the 9th, 2021, 2,400 people died.
Well, I got it. I got to turn my phone back on, but as soon as it comes back on, I'll get you the statistic. And
where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go to get it? Where are you going to go to get it?
It's at the bottom of Drudge.
Now let me ask you, Alan, where did you go to get your statistic?
The Centers for Disease Control.
Okay.
He went to 7-Eleven.
Yes, what were you going
I
to say,
went right
Charlie?
to the CDC website.
Charlie, what were you going to say?
Trustworthy.
I was saying CDC, same thing that.
Extremely trustworthy organization.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but Drudge far more so.
More so than them.
Drudge. What does Drudge do? Drudge up the poop and stuff from the gutters? What do they do? It's a strange name, Drudge.
Somebody's name.
Yeah.
I forgot his first name. Was Alan Drudge, Michael Drudge, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you used this mirror thing last week. Earlier today, you said you were going to get something new.
All right.
Yeah. Get the bridge back up.
By the
there.
way, American Patriot is here on the chat room. He's the only guy on the chat room, he and Charlie, making what I consider wrong statements. Says, do people still think experimental shots work? What experimental shots?
Yeah, really.
Wait a minute, what experimental shots is he talking about?
Why he trusts the therapeutics and he doesn't trust the vaccines when they're both made by the same.
Well, wait a minute.
pharmaceutical
I
company.
want to tell American Patriot, they're not experimental any longer. They have been considered official by the CDC.
They're approved.
They're
Both
approved.
Moderna and Pfizer.
Yes. So they're not experimental. So let me see you now take that away within the next, say, minute. Otherwise, I am banishing you from the chat. Okay, which will leave nobody except Charlie in the chat. But, that's fine with me. I don't care. Huh? Well, Tyson's Acosta. Patriot is SG. Who's
Have
SG?
you ever noticed when Phil's talking about COVID and his lips are moving, it's all bullshit.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Well,
It's where you get your info from. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my.
Why don't you go to Sun
what he does
Mag-
is he reads one sentence on Drudge's rap sheet, okay, and then he spurts
No, I
it
went
back
to the
without
bottom.
even knowing what it's about. I mean, it could be that within that article that you read, they say, "Oh, yeah, well, there were 2,400 last year," but some
All right.
people say blah 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 blah. Come on,
All right.
don't.
Let me get to the bottom of the page. Of course, I can't find it. It's not on the bottom of the page.
Oh, he made it up again.
No, it was on. It was, and
It could be
Oh,
the-
here it is. Got it.
Oh, okay.
COVID cases, just for Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
USA, February 8th, 2022. We got 194,021 cases. On February 8th, 2021, hey, Charlie, on February 28th, February 8th, 2021, we had 92,982 cases.
Now, is
Over
it,
100,000 less.
Are you reading
Now-
from? Are you reading from the article or just the line in
One
Drudge?
day, over 100,000 less.
Well, why don't you go to the article and tell me who published that article?
Okay, in a second. Deaths.
No, I want to know who published that article now before you continue with this.
Well, I don't think if I click on it, there's a world sick map. But
no. What? Where are you? Where is this information coming from?
I ended up with something other. This world sick map is something I didn't understand.
Hold on a second. I'm going to go.
Go to the bottom of the Drudge, and you're going to see. Where is it?
I mean, I don't know why I'm wasting my time with this. But
You got nothing else to do. Well, anyway, Charlie's claim to fame is that there were more COVID cases now, and that's true, 194,000. But there were 100,000
Oh,
less
I
on the
see.
same day a year ago. And then deaths, there are over 1,000 deaths difference. So the percentage of deaths are actually higher now.
Exactly. That's because there's so many cases.
Right.
The
But-
people dying now are the ones that got sick 3 weeks ago when we had 800,000 cases
Yeah,
a
but
day.
why is we didn't have a vaccine a year ago,
That's
Sure
and
did. A year ago, I was vaccinated
Just-
already a year ago.
we just got it in January, February. There was only a few people being vaccinated: the president, the vice president.
And there also
nurses.
wasn't Delta and there wasn't Omicron.
No, it was more deadly.
No,
No,
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Delta's been the most deadly one that
Yeah.
we've had.
Yeah, people were dying left and right,
They were dying left and right because we didn't know how to treat it.
and
Once Delta came along, they were dying left and right, even though we did know how to treat it because it was more deadly.
Mhm.
well, if you were vaccinated, for instance, in my county, 79.9% in Contra Costa County are vaccinated. The reason they won't lift the mandate is that they said, well, you got to have 80%. And as far as the other thing, they said if there's more than 75 cases in the county, they're not going to lift it.
Phil, there was something else going on a year ago too.
What
We
was
were
that?
all wearing considerably more masks than we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
people wear masks now.
No.
unless you're in
I'm
Florida,
saying back
Texas.
then they were far more aware of that. They washed their hands when they came in. They did a lot of things prophylactically that we don't do any longer.
Every business that I walk into in Contra Costa County, for
I'm not
instance,
talking about businesses. I'm talking about in general. People let their guard down now over last year.
During the
Movie
holidays.
theaters were closed a year ago. There weren't any rock concerts and stuff going on a year ago. All of that's been opened up in the
There
past.
weren't any
but the
capital.
liquor stores were open, and so were the marijuana dispensaries, and no churches. No, you can't have
I'm
those.
sorry, you got, and plus,
We shouldn't
look at
have
the
those
football
anyway,
games.
if you
A year
want my
ago,
opinion.
There were no people in the stands in the football games. That's why COVID wasn't being spread as much.
I like when Phil is being proven wrong on his statistics, he changes the subject
Hey,
to church
you know-
and 7-Eleven.
Look,
Yeah, yeah,
Alan,
yeah.
you
And we should
see-
have a right in this society to go to any church anytime we want to and a 7-Eleven. Okay,
That's right.
Absolutely.
without a mask.
Yeah.
But I think that you could go to Home Depot, but you weren't supposed to go into a local business.
By the
You
way,
couldn't go to
speaking
a
of
local hardware store.
7-Eleven, do you know why it's 7-Eleven? You may have wondered this. On the door, they have a height chart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm never going to be up by 7-Eleven. That's the top.
But why
Top
do they
thing.
have that? Everybody know?
When they get robbed.
They can say how tall the person was as they run
Right.
out. Yeah.
Remember when Trump was talking on 9/11 and kept saying the people down at 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
He's the smartest guy in the world.
I thought I was.
By the way, he just did he didn't do a tweet. He can't do tweets anymore. He does his little encyclicals.
Well, he's on Getter, or what's the name of that other site?
That was it.
Grindr, the gay social media
No,
site.
that's your
How do you know
site.
that one?
Oh, he's on it all day
On
long.
the news all the time.
Yeah.
What news are you watching?
Hey,
Fox News.
he lines his bird cage with the Advocate. Yeah,
What's the Advocate?
that's your newspaper.
But apparently it isn't Alan's because he doesn't know what it is.
I have
It's
no
a
idea what.
free gay newspaper. I actually advertised in it because gay people have money and they can spend it on floors.
Well, they also have rugs too.
Yes.
They need rugs.
Yeah. Floors, rugs, same thing.
Your ad in it, was it in the personal section?
Yeah.
I bend
Yeah,
over.
call
I bend
Alan.
over. I bend over for your floor.
No, it's a call Alan.
Bend over backwards for his customers.
There you go.
For a good time, call
Alan, yeah.
call Phil.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
But no, I through Channel 20, I advertised in the pink sheets and all of those things. I advertised on Channel 20 on TV, you know, because I think that it was a good demographic. And so, you know, I let them know that I'd welcome their business.
Mhm. Well, we, you know, I mean, all I'm saying is that, like, for instance, earlier we were talking, Phil and I, about the whole Joe Rogan thing. And, you know, I just think that we have to be responsible. And I always have to take Phil to task on some of these figures because, and as well as you guys, because we can't let him get away with it.
All right.
Phil doesn't, to be honest with you folks, ladies and gentlemen, just tuned in, Phil doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
All right. I'm looking at these headlines. Abrupt end to mask mandates reflects shifting political landscape. Next headline, no vax proof for the Oscars. Next headline, restrictions will soon be a thing of the past. Next, Hawaii will not require tourists to be boosted. UK to drop isolations. You know, this is the way the world is changing, and you can't tell me that it, but you can now you can't tell me these people are Republicans.
They're making political
Hawaii.
Oh, hey, listen. The Democrats are whores just like the Republicans.
Although
the Republicans,
these are all Democratic whores.
Although the Republicans suck better. But
ask Alan about that.
They're whores as well.
I will never put my penis near your mouth.
And the reason why Biden's lowering the thing and all the is because the midterms are coming up and they don't want this to haunt them. Okay, yeah. And that's the only reason they're doing it. But by that time, let's see how many people are dead as a result of politics. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
You hear the news that comedian Bob Saget died from head trauma?
What?
No.
It just popped up.
Heart attack.
Where did he get the head?
Yeah, they said that they released more information, but I didn't read it.
But they don't know what the head trauma was until a few
months. CNN. Apparently he fell backwards and hit his head or something, according to a family member. I don't know.
No, that could be.
That could happen.
They found him dead in a hotel room.
Well, he had a heart attack. So maybe he had a heart attack. He fell backwards. He got into bed. He put his hands on his chest, and that was that.
Really? Okay. Maybe he was trying to get back up on the bed, you know, but it was too slippery from you being up there.
Yeah, no, I thought they discovered him in his bed, and his hands were on his chest.
That's what they said, but that was initial stuff. We don't know. Well, all we know is what the autopsy says. And if the autopsy says head trauma, it's head trauma.
I'm just going by what came in the news.
They still said it's going to be a few more weeks till they find out exactly.
Right.
But yeah, it was head trauma.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. They're using Brian's test to find out what he actually died.
Yeah. Well,
we had a movie. There was this movie that they used our system. It was like some that looked like The Thing, you know, the Carpenter movie, you know?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like that, and they have our system in this thing, and then it never went through.
Wow. Well.
Hey, let's see. Nancy Pelosi warned the athletes in China not to speak up because the Chinese, she said, are ruthless. And I guess the athletes from all over the world are complaining about the way they're being treated, the way they're being isolated, the food that they're being given. There's seems to be a lot of...
well, why don't they just send out for Chinese?
Well...
I don't understand your point.
Well, what I'm saying is that, you know, the freedom...
Picking on Nancy Pelosi, that's his point.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck does what Nancy Pelosi have to do with what China's treating, how China's
Don't be short-sighted. China, I'm speaking up because I think that the Chinese are being abusive to the athletes. Nancy Pelosi is saying, just take it.
Do something while you're doing this.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi is saying, just take it and don't say anything.
That's not the same thing. That's like saying that my dad was telling me to just take it when he gave me to talk about fucking with police.
Yeah.
I got my cat.
He wasn't telling me to just take it, but he was saying just save your fucking life. And that's all she's saying to them.
Right.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't have gone to China with our Olympics.
It's good advice that Nancy's giving out.
Yeah.
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 Well,
be careful. Be
it's
careful.
a lack of freedom.
Well, no, look, there's never been freedom in China. Okay, get over that idea. Okay, and we, by the way, we don't have freedom here either. I just want to.
Not right now. Not with the Democrats in the
Oh
White House.
Jesus, Phil.
You know, they're training us to be subservient.
You know, China.
wearing masks,
Whenever
getting
we
injections.
accuse them of something, come back with, yeah, but look what you do.
Oh,
you know.
so it's whataboutism.
Well, it's definitely whataboutism because you don't have a right to tell us what to do when you do it yourself on different level.
We don't do anything.
Oh, we
like
don't do what they're doing to the Uyghurs, do we? But we
Yeah,
did it.
no.
No, wait a minute. Excuse me. I remember the Japanese rather, in America during World
70,
War II.
80 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. But we did it. Okay,
Yeah, and-
just like they're doing it. It was our little re-education.
And it was
camps.
Democrats that did it. It was your Franklin Roosevelt,
Anyway.
you know, that set up those camps. But you know, he's in Hyde Park, and those guys are on Angel Island.
Isn't that where Carpet One started? Flooring those camps.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we had dirt floors in those camps.
Well, the point is that one of the things that I'm do you know that the island, what is it? Is it Stinson?
Angel Island.
Angel Island was one of the camps.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway.
I've walked around Angel Island. It was 5 miles in circumference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah.
You were saying.
Oh no! What I was
you were
saying. What I was saying is,
what
look,
aboutism?
I think part of the problem with China right now is that the people who are running it are much more dictatorial. Like when I was there 10 years ago, there was a far less oppressive feeling
Yeah.
about the country, that you almost felt that it was coming out of that long period of hardcore communism and then balancing communism with capitalism to kind of get a hybrid kind of country, really, as they considered it. And that Xi has kind of ruined that. I mean, they started doing the whole Hong Kong thing. I mean, when we went there, I mean, Hong Kong was a thriving capitalistic city making a lot of money for China, and I think they're really screwing that up, you know.
It's Trump's fault.
You know the parable about the scorpion and the frog?
Yes, that's what I do.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
that's what the Chinese do.
No,
And-
it's not necessarily what the Chinese do. Under Deng Xiaoping, he tried to start making an element of capitalism come into the society to balance it with the communism and have the communism work for the people and have the capitalism work for the people as well. Because Mike Wallace, in interviewing him on 60 Minutes, he said, I thought you didn't like capitalism. He says, I have nothing against capitalism as long as it is used to benefit all the people.
Why in Cuba right now are there?
What does Cuba have to do with this, Phil?
To me, let me finish a sentence.
No, and then it'll have nothing to do.
Right now in Cuba, there are massive protests, and the Chinese and the Russian governments are trying to prop up the Cuban government so that they can keep the communist regime in Cuba, only 90 miles from our shore. So, you know,
Who's trying to do this?
The Russian and
Why would the Russians do it? The Russians aren't communists.
Well, I just saw in the news tonight that they said that they're trying to bolster the Cuban communist government, and I guess right now,
Why shouldn't they? There are only two.
hundred-
There are only, I believe, two communist countries left in the world, and it's China and Cuba. And why shouldn't China stand up for Cuba?
well,
Yeah, you're
because
rooting for
there's
the home
100
team.
There's over 100,000 people protesting in the streets in Cuba right now, and that information is being suppressed.
It is.
know,
How did
yeah.
you hear about it then?
I'll find the article.
No, I'm not saying find the article. I'm just saying if it's being suppressed, how did you find out about it?
It was one of my right-wing websites that reports those kinds of stories and doesn't keep them from the people.
I guess they weren't suppressed.
Only on right-wing websites.
What was the story I saw on OAN the other day, and I went, my God, are they just so full of it? Are they just passing wrong, false information? And you go to all these sources that are just known for their misinformation. And then you come on here and you supply it to us as real information.
Yeah, it is real information. Not everything. You know, just because you don't like the
Phil, you're not a stupid guy. Why do you act like one? Is it just for show here?
Yeah, I like this stuff. This is what I feel is actually the truth, and that the other things are being suppressed by the left-wing media.
So how you doing, Kevin? Things going good for you down there? And
Yeah, they're going okay.
yeah, where are you, in Hollister? Did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah. How is it in Hollister these days?
pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Didn't they used to have a lot of biker rallies in Hollister?
Oh yeah.
every July 4th. Yeah,
Wasn't that the fact that the place that the movie The Wild One was kind of based on?
yeah, they made it down here. Well, parts of it. Yeah,
Parts of it, yeah.
downtown, and the bar is still here.
Yeah. You notice I'm trying to change the subject here.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
It's been hot down there too, right? It's been hot here.
Actually, we had 80 degrees today, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, NBC News.
Global warming. Global
Inside
warming.
the anti-government
something?
protests in
You
Cuba.
hear something?
Yeah, I hear something. It's like
I think
a
it's static.
well, I thought it was like a gnat in my ear.
It's
Well,
almost like what was that in the old days when there was static and all that
Yeah,
noise?
yeah.
Hey, Phil, we're going through a tunnel. We may lose you.
You're breaking up. I think you're breaking up.
Yeah. So this one was reported a while ago, but there was inside the anti-government protests in Cuba. It was, and I guess these protests are going on.
How do
How
we
cold
get to
was it
that?
in New York?
How do we get to that from China? I don't know.
Because China is supporting communism in Cuba.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, and why shouldn't they? Because they're a communist country. Wouldn't they support another communist country?
Yeah. Well, they're having a national day of protest today.
Because if I were a total moron, I'd be defending you.
National Pizza Day today too.
All right.
So, did you buy a pizza today, Kevin?
No, I made my own at home.
What's your favorite topping?
Oh, I like all kinds of different stuff.
Can you see why nobody watches this show?
What? Actually, the numbers have gone up since they started talking about pizza. Yes. By the way, the other day I checked about a week ago. Total people watching the Monday show in one way or another, over 1,000.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you look at this panel, other than me and Alan, it's the same suspects here that are on your show on Mondays.
No, oh no.
You got Brian, you got Charlie.
Charlie and Brian. That was it. That's it.
All right,
The rest of the week, I usually got about 12 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you got,
I mean, Charlie will tell you it's a different group of people, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
yeah. What's so different about them?
But they're different physical people.
Different physical people, and they have a different demeanor.
Yeah.
We never talk about what we're talking about tonight.
We
Never.
We
don't
got a
talk
couple-
politics.
Got a couple of broads on there too.
Couple of babes too.
A couple of broads.
So if you want more listeners, do you want to change the conversation?
No, I don't think anything
Why not?
will help this show.
Less Jews.
Oh no, I'm just amazed at how many people watch that other show.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people are tired of the dialogue that's going on. It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
All right, I'm all for changing the dialogue. I don't really give a shit whether you guys wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated.
I'll wear a mask right here just to piss you off. Yeah,
Hey.
here we go. What is that?
It's a funnel.
Oh, the weird ones with this lady walked by me and freaked me out. She has the one that has it's a mask and then it's clear plastic here so you could see her mouth.
Yeah.
Well, you know something? That's not a bad idea, because the thing that bothers me is sometime I'll walk down the street, for instance, and there'll be a cute little kid that a mother has, and I want to just smile, saying, "Hey, that's a cute
Can't
kid,"
they-
and you can't do that anymore.
I feel that people can see your eyes and they can see if you're smiling just in your eyes and the way you look at people.
Really?
I think that you don't have to see a person's mouth to see that they're friendly towards you and that they're smiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can communicate with your eyes.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to China, they were in the Olympics today. They had a problem with what is it?
Judges.
Huh?
Judges being pro-Chinese, or the American skater that fell that became Chinese, or she was Chinese heritage, but she's an American skater. She got Chinese citizenship, renounced her American citizenship, skated for China, and fell. And the Chinese people are livid that she didn't perform the way she should have.
That's not what I'm talking about at all. That the member of the ROC, which is the Russian Olympic Committee team, because the Russians can't compete.
But they still, I know, but they have ROC. That's ridiculous.
But they have ROC, and so they can compete under that. And they eliminated or disqualified temporarily the Russian team because they're suspected doping for the ROC team.
I don't know if it was thought that they were going to dope, but I think they proved. They had the one woman; she was disqualified, and they said that she was using drugs.
Yeah, but she was using a drug for her heart, but it's a banned substance. So, I mean, what do? You don't take you
don't compete.
You got a bum ticker, and you don't take something that's going to help it.
I guess you can't compete under their rules.
Not just for a couple weeks. Just risk it.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, the IOC as an organization is so fucking corrupt that I just don't understand why we even listen to them.
They said something about the uniforms of some downhill skiers or something. Americans, something with their uniforms. They were disqualifying them. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I watched the half pipe last night. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, they weren't made in China. The uniform.
Yeah, probably.
Sean, what's his name?
Sean White, and he fell on his first run. They have 2 runs to just qualify into the finals, and then so there's a little pressure on him for the second round because a bunch of these guys are really good, and Sean White had pressure on him and he delivered, so he got into the finals. So that's tomorrow night, I think.
This is his last Olympics.
Yeah, he's retired. Yeah.
Americans have 6 or in 6th place for gold medals. They might have 7 medals, but I think they're in 6th place, and China is in 1st place
For the number of gold medals.
for the number of gold medals.
Who has the number one?
China.
Okay.
That's because they're used to fake snow blowers.
What?
Yeah, there's no real snow there.
There's no real snow there.
Yeah.
Don't you watch the Olympics, Phil?
No.
They got snow blowers blowing out fake snow on the side.
I don't watch sports. Why would I watch the Olympics?
Well, that is
Somehow
My
I
mom
just
sang my mom sang in the opening games in when they did it at Squaw Valley in the 1960s, something like that.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of pins from the they have pins, Squaw Valley pins, and all this stuff.
Well, that's interesting. You mentioned.
I have
Squaw
about
Valley.
100
Didn't they-
pins from Barcelona. Because
Right.
you get,
Didn't they
the
change
big thing
the
was to go
name?
around and get pins from various companies that made pins and
I wonder where my pin is. I got a pin from Sydney. Sydney Olympics.
Yeah, but you
Is
only
that
have one.
was that his name? You guys had such hot sex. He sent you a pin.
I don't know where all my Barcelona pins are. I think they're probably in
I'm
storage.
trying.
Hers say something. Not, it doesn't say participant, but it says something on those that she was in the opening game, or opening ceremony. She went to Hillsdale High School in San Mateo, so I think their whole
There
group.
was a gal that won gold that lived in Fremont, where I live. Not Namaguchi.
Oh yeah, Chrissy Yamaguchi. I saw her.
Actually, I hung out with her at the
Really?
at Lillehammer,
right.
at Lillehammer, and we went to the pairs event, the pairs double, and I rode in the car with her and talked with her. Very nice lady.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw her, and I saw the other. There's another girl who's after her a few Olympics. There was local, a lot of people from the Bay Area, and I'll tell you, those skaters, those girls have ass.
Yes.
Kardashian.
Yes. What I used to say. What I used to say is.
Kardashian.
Oh my God.
We sat there at the Olympics in Albertville. We were up in we were in Courchevel was the town we were in, and we were staying in a what do you call it, a chalet. It was Bobby Slayton and myself and a couple other people, and we were sitting there watching the figure skating, and what we were watching was how up the what do you call it, the what do you call the thing when the crotch gets, you start to see
Camel toe?
camel toe. We were trying to see how much camel toe would start to occur as the person was skating, and in some cases it got pretty profound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like they hold their thing up, their leg up here, and then they spin around and go like my crotch. So we enjoyed that. That's in the days when we could enjoy being guys. Today, what happens? Somebody then calls you on the carpet for it, and you lose your job because you sat in a chalet making fun of the skaters.
It was Michelle Kwan. Michelle Kwan was in San Jose. I happened to go to the Fairmont for dinner with my grandfather, and there were a bunch of skaters there. And I saw her, and I was like, oh my God, they're so tiny, but yeah, they have very conditioned lower halves.
Oh yeah,
It takes a lot of muscle to do those jumps.
Christy Yamaguchi is married to Brett Hedigan.
Who's Brett Hedigan?
He works for the Sharks. He's an announcer for the Sharks, but he played with he was a hockey player for the Florida Panthers.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess skaters stay together. I mean,
I guess so.
they
yeah.
they probably
But
married.
he's about 8 feet tall, and she's about 3.5 feet tall.
But,
So.
they must have been married forever, huh?
They've been married for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw her at a MC Hammer concert.
Wow.
I used to see
Can't touch
MC,
this.
I used to see MC Hammer at Twin Creeks when I played softball.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he'd get over in a corner drinking beer, and he'd be all.
My mother owned a property.
Wasn't that the stupidest act ever in show business?
Hammer?
MC
Hammer
Hammer.
time?
Yeah, he had a big old house on the hill in Fremont, Milpitas
Yeah,
area.
my mother was a property manager, and she managed that house that he lived
he
in.
had bowling alleys and everything up
But
there.
he later had to get rid of it, didn't he? Because he lost a lot of money.
Yeah, he went bankrupt.
Yeah, he used to open for the A's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to do a lot of stuff for the A's, and I don't know. Nah, that was about it. The A's, yeah.
Now, I remember Billy Martin's people used to come to Camel, and they would bring food and stuff and gifts for Alex. The A's.
Those were the days when they brought tribute to the king.
Yeah.
Yes. What gifts
That's when I had season tickets for the A's then.
Yeah. It was fun. I actually got to eat some of that stuff. He couldn't eat it all, so he would share.
Yeah. I remember one time when we were at KMEL, when I looked down one morning as I'm about to go on the air into the parking lot, and there's this giant rat down there.
Yeah.
Now, what it was a guy dressed as a giant rat. And they brought him up because they wanted free publicity. They brought him up, and they brought some pizzas and things like that, and they said, we're from a new thing called Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. And I said, well, what's with the rat? And they didn't dissuade me of the fact that he was a rat.
Mascot.
And they said, oh, well, this is Chuck E. Cheese.
Now,
I said, wait a minute, an eating place, a food place has a rat, or at the best, a mouse as its mascot?
Disneyland?
You can't possibly win. I said, you know.
Now, the guy who started Chuck E. Cheese was a Silicon Valley.
His name was started with a D.
Nolan
Bushnell.
He started Atari also.
That's what it was, Atari.
Yeah.
And I guess the pizza is not doing so well lately.
No, we call it Chuck E. disease.
I went there
there's a
one
nasty
time.
one
I
in
couldn't
Fremont.
believe this. I mean, this is a place for kids, right?
Yeah.
And up on the wall, the whole thing was automated. So this show went on, and it was
Absolutely.
all like puppets and, but it was all automated like Disney.
He was a smart guy, Nolan Bushnell.
And part of when they were singing and playing music, there were all these hooves on the wall of animals.
Yeah.
And they were clapping hands like this. Yeah. And I'm going, if I were a kid, I'd be frightened to death of that. These dismembered.
Kids love Chuck E. Cheese.
Kids,
Really?
They closed one. They had one over Almaden over here. They just closed that one because of COVID. But Story, and I know Kevin knows that one. That one has a huge one on the wall.
Story or Tully?
Used to be on the front of the building.
Tully.
Tully and 101.
When my kids were young, I went into the little. They got this thing you climb through, and you slide down into a thing of balls.
Did you get stuck?
No, I was thinner then.
No, he got his ball stuck in it.
I mean the ball pit.
Yeah, but you slid down this pipe into the pit.
We slid down this pipe into the balls. What's that
all
about?
All kinds of crap.
What is it? Is that the sperm?
Balls.
Wait a minute. Is that the sperm ride?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
And
both
he went down the slide face first, so he got the first taste.
Yeah. Hey, don't excite Alan. You start talking about sperm, and he's gonna. We won't be able to.
We
stop
talk
him.
too
He's
much about sperm, and fucking the YouTube will demonetize.
Yeah,
me.
well, he's like Tony on coffee. When you start getting him around sperm.
I got to tell you something about YouTube that's just driving me crazy. So I watch the Monday numbers to see them, and they go up and they go up and they go up. We got up to something like at least on YouTube itself. I have several other places that we get the numbers from, and it went up to like 485, and I went, we're going to hit 500 this week. That's wonderful. All of a sudden, it goes down to 390.
You know why? Because they pay you based on the number of.
And then it went up to like 385 again, 485, and then it went down to 420. I mean, they're all over the place. The number goes up, and then it comes back down again, and I can't figure out why.
They put their hand on the scale, so they pay you less.
Well, I mean,
less eyeballs.
They're screwing with me. Is what they're doing.
You know what, Alex? I've heard that from another guy that I watch too.
Really?
The sports, yeah. He said the same thing. He says he's looked at his numbers and they're up high, and then all of a sudden he looks again and they're low, because he's got 2 channels and he was trying to figure out what was going on, and he was trying to split his channels.
You write them trying to get an answer, and they never answer you.
Yeah, that's what he said too. Same freaking thing.
Yeah.
The high number was probably from Dredge.
From Dredge?
Yeah, the thing that Phil goes to for statistics.
Dredge,
whatever.
same thing. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I heard that just yesterday. I think I heard it.
Whatever you can dredge up, that's what they do.
Well, I mean, no, but that happens, and it bothers me a great deal.
Don't
I
you get paid per
believe me
view?
when I say I have 1,000 people who watched it on one occasion, between one thing and another. That ain't no big deal. I mean, when you say Joe Rogan has 2 million people listening to him. But you just go, wow,
You need to have Phil on more often.
I heard on Monday's show, I listened to it, and you said that you were watching porn stars, and Are you watching Asian porn stars, interracial porn stars, or
Once again, as I told my dear wife on that show, the name of the show is Pawn Stars.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's Pawn Stars.
You're pretty good.
Unless you're
That
from a
was
different
good,
part of
Phil.
New York, then it's
Anybody here
porn stars.
watch Pawn Stars?
Porn stars.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Boston.
I like the Asian one,
What's that?
the Asian porn stars.
No, it's Pawn Stars, and it's these guys who own a pawn shop down in Las Vegas.
Just to give Phil credit, I think he knew the difference and was just twisting the
And
word around.
it's kind of what it is. I describe it as the hillbilly Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Antiques Roadshow. That's one of the best shows. Was one of the best shows on TV. I haven't watched it in a.
Well, I mean,
in a
was.
while.
It is still there.
Still is.
Still there.
You know, people go there with their stuff, and they're hoping that it's worth a fortune. And every once in a while, you get that guy that's got that right piece of furniture that's worth $500,000.
Yeah,
But most of the time, it's you've been carting this around for 4 generations, and it's worth 80 cents.
Well, if you really want to be kind of dispirited, you go into that pawn shop, okay,
Yeah.
with your stuff. Because not only do they tell you that it's not worth crap, okay, because you thought you had something that was worth $500,000, and then somebody's saying, oh, they fake these all the time, and this is a fake, and here's how you can tell it's a fake, and whatever, and then they offer you 30 cents.
Oh, no, they won't buy fakes.
That happened to me. I walked in there with an original autographed picture of President Trump, and they said it's faked all the time. So here, we'll give you 30 cents.
Only the news.
And if it was a real autographed Trump, it would be worth 20 cents.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. They're paying a lot of money for autographed copies of his book.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like you can get the book for 29 cents, but with his autograph, it's $150 or something.
They say
over
that most of those
$1,000.
porn star episodes are faked.
Fake.
That they're all setups. The
TV
experts.
The TV company pays these people for the items and stuff, and so they go out and find people that have unique things and bring it in, and they pay them to negotiate.
Yeah, you know what else is fake? You ever watch the Storage Wars?
Storage Wars, same
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's so stupid.
Same with American Pickers.
They juice those.
Yeah, I mean, usually you find 1986 Harleys in those things that are worth nothing.
Well, I find that Pawn
Mine's
Stars,
posted.
what I like about the show.
You have a nice looking bike.
I can't stand the way they try to be funny and things like that. But just it's an easy show to watch. People come in and they try to get some money for their items, and they're told whether they're any good. And I wouldn't go to these guys because they'll immediately go down, in price, just bring you down completely. I was going to say Jew you down, but that would be
No.
Yeah. Well, everybody, you could use it as a word of endearment.
Yeah.
They buy antique guns and then they go and they shoot them. Those are pretty interesting episodes.
But it's it's one of those kind of things that you kind of watch like chewing gum. Like what we love also, Marjorie and I watch every week is Shark Tank.
I don't watch that.
Shark
I don't
Tank again.
understand it.
What do you mean you don't understand it?
How can these people be given 400,000, 500,000? They got businesses that have no value, that don't do.
Well, they don't give them money if it doesn't have any value.
Well, they invest in it. They think it's a good idea, and the couple of times that I've seen it.
You should go on the show, Phil, and present your hearing earplugs.
That's nothing that the other people don't do.
But no, but the thing we like about Shark Tank is, again, it's just an easy show. It's just chewing gum, and you just watch it, and it's after you're through, nobody gets hurt,
The one I like is Below Deck.
Oh, well, who doesn't like Below Deck?
And I like them all. I like the Mediterranean. I like the sailing one. I like.
Well, I don't watch
Sandy.
I love the Mediterranean one, Below Deck Mediterranean. The other one, not so much.
They're all the same.
No, they're not.
Different
Mediterranean has better looking women.
Depends.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I right? Am I right, Charlie? Charlie seems to be agreeing
Oh, I don't
with
watch
me.
it. I've never watched
Okay,
it.
you
I watch them all. Yes.
and you agree Mediterranean they have better looking women.
Yeah. In fact, I was watching Mediterranean while I was listening to you guys on the show Monday while I was trying to do some work.
And I don't
So
care
you got
how
nothing done.
I don't care how
got nothing done.
I don't care how politically incorrect it is. I'm a guy and I enjoy looking at a good looking woman in a bikini. Okay? Okay? It's not changing.
No shoes on.
Huh?
You know, they don't wear shoes.
Yeah,
on
but I
them.
mean, but I like the Below Deck show. You know,
Yeah,
and the little intrigue that goes on, and
I love the dinners when they go to dinner and they're all drunk.
yeah, and they fight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My girlfriend, fiance, she says, you're watching that show with the flirty girls again. She says they're flirty girls. You shouldn't be watching.
And they are flirty girls.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's a it's a fun show, but I like the Mediterranean better than the one that takes place in the.
Well, the different captains are I like to watch how they interact with their employees and how they handle different situations. Some of them are more laid back. Like Captain Sandy, she's a real professional.
Yeah.
And
I like her better than the guy who was the.
Lee.
Yeah.
He's okay. You know, he
was okay. He's not on the show anymore. It's Captain Sandy now. Yeah.
Yeah. And
can you believe what we're talking about here, folks?
No.
They will soon if they watch Below Deck on Bravo.
I'm gonna watch it now. I gotta see it. I thought Phil was talking about the time he had sex with the sailor.
Well, now I have Peacock because of the Olympics, so I can watch Below Deck Mediterranean and go back seasons after season after season.
Yeah. Well, that's Peacock. Do you have Paramount for
Paramount Plus? That's where I'm watching. What do you call it?
It's Yellowstone.
No, but I watch it Hot in Cleveland.
Oh, Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, Hot in Cleveland, great show.
Really?
Betty
Yeah,
White.
really, Phil. I mean, I'm surprised.
I haven't watched 1883, but I've.
It's very good.
Yellowstone.
It's very good. Very good. Yeah, it's really excellent.
Yeah.
And anybody here watching 1883 yet? No.
Is this your birth year?
Yes, it's my birth year. Thank you very
No,
much.
actually, I haven't even heard of it.
It's the spin-off of Yellowstone.
It's not a spin-off of Yellowstone. It's the prequel to Yellowstone. And you don't have to have watched Yellowstone in order to enjoy 1883 because it's about how the Dutton family got to Montana.
So it's like the Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul thing, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like Better Call Saul is a prequel to Breaking Bad. Yeah. You can watch Better Call Saul and
Without.
well,
Breaking
there
Bad.
are some
Breaking
references
Bad's
to
so
what goes on later and so on. So it's probably
I watched Breaking Bad after Better Call Saul, and I didn't realize how good a show that was.
Breaking Bad. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What a great show. We need more stuff like that, you know, to keep me occupied. And
We Marjorie and I binge watched the entire season prior to the final episode being aired, and we got up right to the day and was able to watch but the last all of them that I downloaded without commercials, and the problem was when we were watching the last one we had to watch it with commercials and it was driving us crazy.
did anybody watch Prison Break?
Yeah. I love
Years
that
ago.
show.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but I
It
really
was good
enjoyed
for
that.
the first couple of seasons, and then
That
it
was
kind
the
of got
first-
long in the tooth.
That was the first show I ever binge watched, and I had the DVDs and just
Yeah.
went through them.
And you told me that was Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Well, Hot in Cleveland is a great show. Great show. Yeah. And it brings back a lot of old TV stars to be on it. You know, they brought together the whole Mary Tyler Moore crew in one episode. So it was really a great show. And Betty White just had her chops together at 88, 89, 90 years old. By the time she hits 91, she's kind of slowing down a little bit on the show. But, nevertheless, it's terrific. Anyway, hey, listen, that's it. That's our theme playing, and let me see here. It's time for us to go, but we'll do this whole thing again tomorrow, and we're going to keep doing it till we get it right.
Phil's gonna be here tomorrow.
Phil's promising to be here tomorrow night. Phil's promising to be here tomorrow night. Yeah, he likes it this way, don't you, Phil?
I love it this way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because the whole center of attention is you, and that's how you like it to be. And
Well,
that's why we only do you one day a week. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you like the center attention. You know, that's why you do this.
Well, but I pay to make myself the center of attention. This costs me about $500-600 a year to do. So give me a couple.
Well, we'll run a benefit for you. Are you missing any meals?
My ex-Yiddish wife used to say, "Chep, it's a hook von mir." Anyway, and to the lovely and attractive Brian and
Jeez.
And Charlie and Alan and Kevin, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go, folks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, okay. We'll see you all later. Anyway, Jack Bishop is next. He's here with The Intersection, and I will be back again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, if you haven't done so already, go out and get yourself vaccinated, okay? And if not, wear a mask. And if you don't wear a mask, stay the fuck away from me. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.